Hello, my name is Carol Mortarotti Mason. I want to start by saying I am deeply sorry for your loss. While I wish we were meeting under better circumstances, I thank you for taking the time to watch my video. My mission in this video is to provide you with tools and information that will help you further heal your heart, body, and mind. Here's a little bit about me. I was fortunate enough to have a very happy childhood with supportive and loving parents. I grew up in a beautiful suburb of New York called Chappaqua, which is about 25 miles north of the city and home to Hillary and Bill Clinton. Ever since I can remember, tennis was all that I thought about. And if you ask anyone that knew me, they would say that I always had a few rackets under my arm, ready to play at all times. Fortunately, I excelled quickly at tennis, and I went on to receive a full scholarship to college. I eventually left college and took on the professional women's tennis circuit, which allowed me to travel the globe. Those were really some incredible years of my life, and I am forever thankful for having that opportunity. When I retired from tennis, I pursued my second dream, working on Wall Street. I was one of the few women to have worked on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. This was definitely a challenge at times because it was such a boys' club. That being said, what I am most proud of is being the mother to my 29-year-old son. He is my reason why, my inspiration, and my source of courage. Admittedly, up until 2011, I had a life most would be envious of. Sometimes I even pinch myself because I truly lived a blessed life. Little did I know, everything was about to change. Then my life took a turn for the worse, and I will never forget the day when I received that dreaded phone call. The call that forever changed my and my son's lives. It was on Tuesday, September 15th, 2011, at 5:30 a.m., when I learned that my ex-husband had died by suicide. I was shocked and in utter disbelief. I mean, it's your worst nightmare. I was thinking, how did this happen? Why did this happen? How could this happen? I went into my son's room to wake him up and share the horrible news, and he didn't even believe me at first. But I immediately went into fight or flight mode. I don't know how, but I managed to make a rental car reservation and drive up to the funeral home about 40 minutes away to help make the arrangements. All I knew was that my son was looking to me for help and guidance. So I needed to be strong and keep myself together. There was no choice. He needed me more than ever. But secretly, the pain in my heart was so unbearable to the point where I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I kept hoping I was going to wake up from this nightmare and it would all magically go away. That it was all just some terrible dream, because I wanted one more conversation with Guy so I could tell him how much I love him and thank him for loving me the way he did, and get one more of his incredible hugs. But I wasn't dreaming, it was real. And I was unsure of how I was going to make it through the day, let alone survive. I mean, I just lost my best friend. So for the first year after Guy's death, I felt like I was in a complete fog. I just went through the motions pretty much like a zombie. My brain wasn't functioning correctly, and I would forget things often and I felt completely overwhelmed. My life as I knew it had forever changed. I felt like my life was crumbling down all around me, and my body became overtaken with grief, and I felt out of control. I was in a state of despair. I mean, you can't prepare for this moment, and there's no handbook on the next steps of what to do. Plus, since our society doesn't talk about grief and loss, most of my family and friends didn't reach out to support me, probably because they felt uncomfortable. And when I did try to talk about Guy at family events or when I was out with friends, their reactions made me feel like the Debbie Downer. So I pretty much stopped saying anything. I felt so alone and unsupported, and like nobody could understand my pain and how awful I felt. They kept saying, you should just get over it, as if I merely had a cold. But at the time, I didn't realize that my loss would have a ripple effect. I didn't understand that one event sets into motion subsequent losses. Now, to help explain, let me share my losses as an example. My primary loss was the loss of my ex-husband. And a few of my secondary losses were the loss of hopes and dreams, the loss of income, and the loss of a support system. Here are a few more examples of secondary losses, and I want you to think about which ones you can relate to. Loss of identity, loss of meaningful relationships, loss of confidence, loss of home, loss of health, loss of faith, loss of financial security, and loss of identity. See, the secondary losses could be the reason why you remain stuck. It's like you're in a fight with Mike Tyson and you keep getting knocked down. One day I woke up and I thought, Carol, enough is enough. I realized that I was wearing my grief like a cloak and hiding behind it in order to stay safe. I wanted some resemblance of my life back. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, always exhausted, feeling depressed, explaining my story, being lonely, and basically living life on the sidelines. I wanted to find love again and feel loved. And barely surviving wasn't an option for me any longer. I had a son who needed me. He needed a role model to step up and show him that one can do more than survive loss. You can actually thrive from it. But I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I couldn't do this alone. I was going to need some help and support, someone to guide me step by step. So I started researching programs and attending seminars, but it wasn't until I hired a grief coach that I made my biggest transformation from pain to purpose. Eventually, I went on to become a certified life coach and grief recovery coach because I wanted to share my recovery methods with others. I really didn't want anyone else to live a life of pain after loss. I knew I was meant to help people, and I'm forever thankful to be able to do that today. Now, I know you might be afraid of doing the work that's needed in order for you to move through your grief. But when we feel the emotion of fear, we don't feel in control of our lives. We shut down and we feel weak. So we tend to give our power away to people that don't deserve it. And this can really hurt us. And it makes us feel even more unworthy. But what if we faced our fears and embraced our lives? What if we realized that we have created our thoughts and they are just an illusion keeping us stuck and keeping us from healing? That we can control our thoughts and beliefs. We can cut the attachments from fear that are holding us back. I mean, how would your life be different if you could let go of fear? What possibilities would open up for you? The alternative is that you live a lonely, loveless, and small life. And is that the life that you sought out to live? I certainly don't think so. I mean, will you have any regrets if you don't face your fears? Here's a quote that I love and often refer to. There is something you must always remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. By Winnie the Pooh. There's no shortcut to healing. You have to put in the work. But the reward is that you get to live the life you dream of. Love is on the other side of the door. It's just waiting for you to open it. But it's up to you to open that door. And think of the cost of not doing the work, the cost of not healing, the cost of missing out on an amazing life for you, your family, and your friends. When you overcome fear, you change your mindset and you shift your energy. You heal the part of you that is keeping you from happiness, from freedom and love. And you open yourself up to all the beautiful things that are in the world. We can't always control the circumstances that happen to us, but we can control how we recover from them. Loss changes you forever. You will never be the same person, and sometimes you won't even recognize who you are anymore. But you can still be your best self. I am here to tell you that you don't have to settle for being known as the person who lost their spouse. You can come out stronger and a better version of yourself while still honoring your loved one. So the first steps in overcoming loss is to believe that you can actually make a full recovery. Doing so will give you the strength and courage to change your beliefs and stories. Shifting your story and point of attraction from the standpoint of a victim to that of a survivor is an immensely powerful tool. The second step is to make a commitment to yourself that you will triumph over tragedy. Now, this is a daily commitment, and it needs, this is where the work comes in. I cannot begin to tell you how incredible it is to feel to have your power back. I am living proof that if you're willing to really work, nothing can hold you back. When you forgive your past, you get to conquer your future. When you heal your heart, you open yourself up to the possibility of love again, and you mend relationships with your family and friends. Now, you may be thinking that if you find love again, you might forget a loved one that you've lost. But how can love die? It never does. So your memories will always stay with you forever. You'll carry around them in your heart forever. So if you want to live again and live life to the fullest, think about, what your next steps are. I'd like to share some of the next steps that I took to heal. And my hope is that you will feel empowered to implement them as well, because we all deserve love and to be loved. One of the steps I used was gratitude. Now, I know it's easy to be grateful for things when things are going well, but when you've experienced loss, it's challenging, and we tend to focus on what we no longer have instead of what we still do. But to want what we no longer have is to waste what still remains in our lives. We mustn't take anything for granted. Gratitude is one of the most healing tools out there. It's extremely powerful, and it can be very comforting. It can help you move through your grief, shifting the focus from yourself to the abundance of what surrounds you in the present. I'd like you to give this a try. Each morning, before you get out of bed, take 3 deep breaths. Then think of 3 things you are grateful for right now, in the moment, no matter how small. You can also start a gratitude list or a gratitude journal. It really doesn't matter how you practice, just that you do. And as you begin to express gratitude, take notice of how your mood shifts. If you start sleeping better, feeling happier, or seeing more things around you to be grateful for. If so, then you're doing it right. This in itself is a sign of improved energy and a clear indication that you are taking the right steps forward along your healing journey. Another step was forgiveness. Wow, this is a big one. When you truly forgive 100% without any contingencies or rules, it heals your heart and it opens up a space for a brand new possibility. Go ahead and make a list of people that you want to forgive, and I suggest adding your name to that list too. Write a letter to each person and pour out all of your emotions into the letters. Thank them for the lessons they taught you. Say goodbye to them. Ask for their forgiveness. And finally, forgive yourself. Then take one of the letters and light it on fire. But please remember to burn it in a safe place. When you burn the letter, you begin to feel lighter and freer as negative emotions are released into the universe. You get to watch them all disappear. This is why you don't want to reread the letter or rip it up. Another step is practicing self-care. When you have experienced a significant loss, you tend to neglect the basics of self-care, and not caring for yourself can add additional stress to your life, which is the last thing you need or want. Even worse, it can cause you to become ill or self-sabotage. And before you know it, years have gone by and you're still not making yourself a priority. Self-care, is not a selfish act. It's not selfish, because when you feel better about yourself and your life, you are then better able to help those around you. So you see, you're doing it for yourself and also for those you love. And when you're feeling good, it's only natural for you to want to spread that sense of joy into your relationships. Below are a few suggestions to help you get back to making yourself a priority, and also as well as after you heal, because you are always an important. Diet and sleep. We tend to gravitate towards comfort food and alcohol after a loss, but eating healthy, drinking plenty of water, and getting enough sleep are essential for optimal functioning and can reduce depression. It sounds really obvious, but this step often goes ignored. Exercise. Physical exercise improves the way you feel and it lifts your mood. Go for brisk walks outside, listen to uplifting music, and you can just dance in your living room or just do something to get your body up and moving. Just shake off the negative emotions. And if you can, try and continue the exercise routine you were doing before your loss. But it doesn't matter. Anything will do. What's really important is that you get yourself moving. Pampering yourself. Treat yourself like you would treat your best friend or someone you love. Take a relaxing bath. Get a massage or a manicure. Read a book, light some candles, or watch your favorite movie. Speaking of movies, laughter is really great. Humor is very healing, but we often feel guilty if we laugh. But laughter attracts joy and it releases negativity. It also clears the mind. So put on a good comedy show or a movie that will bring a big smile to your face and make you laugh hard. Stress management. The body needs to de-stress from all the trapped emotions you've been holding on to. How you're feeling emotionally affects you physically. Try meditation or yoga. Do some breathing. Journal. Just anything to really just de-stress. You could even garden or spend time with a pet because they don't judge you and they're good listeners. Make time for you. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So if you're telling the story of you can't find the time, you're too busy, then take a look at how you're managing your time. Because everyone can find 20 minutes a day to do one healing action and move towards feeling the feeling of joy. Journaling. This gives us hope that our future is going to get better as we heal. It allows us to believe that we don't feel like this is going to how we're going to feel forever. It's a stress reliever, and it gives your grief a voice. As we write, we release bottled up emotions. You might find yourself crying at times while writing, but don't fight the tears because it's part of the healing process. And it's certainly not a sign of weakness. Crying is actually a sign of healing because you are confronting your pain. So to get started with journaling, I want this to be easy for you. So try not to get overwhelmed with how to start. You don't need to buy a journal. You can write on anything that you have. Any paper will do. But keep in mind, nobody is going to check your grammar or spelling. So don't stop and correct yourself. Let your thoughts continue to flow. I suggest journaling in a safe place while listening to some soothing music or have a candle lit in the background to help set the mood. And you might be thinking, how often should I journal? Well, there are no rules. You can write daily, you can write weekly, as little or as much as you'd like. The purpose is to get you feeling better, so do what feels right in the moment. What should you write about? Well, anything that's on your mind. Maybe you say goodbye to somebody. Write about something that's bothering you or challenging you at the moment, what you're grateful for, what you've learned, how you're going to move forward, or better yet, what your new life will look like. Breathing. Having control over your breath is the first step to regaining balance. When you're overwhelmed, taking time out to breathe can help to calm you down and release bad energy. Try this exercise. Take a long, deep breath through your nose, filling up your lungs as much as you can, and then exhale fully out through your mouth with a loud ah. Repeat this 3 times and notice how much better you feel. Reconnect. During your time of pain, you might feel like you've been let down by your higher power or source, but now more than ever, it's really important to reconnect for support. You can pray anywhere and anytime. You don't need to go to a place of worship. And your higher power and angels are ready, standing by, ready to help you. All you have to do is ask. And know that you are never alone and always loved. You are worthy and enough. Return to love. We hear this phrase, return to love, a lot today. Think about when you were 5 years old, how you viewed life as one big ball of sunshine. You weren't carrying around any anger, or blame, or resentment yet. The world was your oyster for the taking, and you loved everything and everyone. So returning to love is about shifting the emotions from anger, blame, resentment, guilt, shame to love. Returning everything to love because God is pure love. He doesn't know any shame or blame or judgment. So anytime you think of a negative emotion that makes you feel bad, visualize a stop sign and shift your thought to something you love. And the more you practice this, the quicker you will be at shifting your energy. Just think about swiping left for negative energy. Affirmations for manifesting love again. I wrote them down and I read these several times a day, and I actually still do it today. I am ready for love. I am worthy of love, and I deserve to receive love in abundance. Every day, I continue to create the foundation of a happy and love-filled life. I don't want to spoil the end of the story for you, but everything is going to be okay. Almost every successful person begins with 2 beliefs. The future can be better than the present, and have the power to make it so. Another step is to get support. Close friends and family can help, but unless they've experienced your pain, they may not be as helpful as you'd like, and they're probably going to say the wrong thing to you without even realizing it. Talk therapy with a trained counselor or a grief coach is beneficial in dealing with and working through your grief. A coach will help you become unstuck. When we want to lose weight or train for specific sport, we are coaches, right? Because our emotional selves need help and support just as much as our physical ones. You recover faster when you have someone to guide you through the steps, one step at a time, and hold you accountable to them. And here are some steps I think you should avoid. First and foremost, stop comparing yourself to everyone else. We all heal in our own way and at our own pace, and it's not a competition. And wherever you are right now in your healing process is just perfect. The important thing is that you continue to take steps towards healing. I also suggest that you stop hanging around people that keep you moving in a positive direction. And by this, I mean people who keep talking about the loss in a negative manner. They talk about the what ifs, what could have been, because all of this will keep you stuck in the pain of the past when the purpose is for you to return to living a life of light and love. So this is how my life looks today. Today, I now implement the tools I've learned into my daily life. And they will always be a part of my routine because they really aren't something you can do once and then you're set for life. I wake up and I say a daily gratitude prayer and I set my intentions for the day. And also throughout the day, I work on not judging myself or others. And living in New York City, this can be a bit tricky, but so some days I think of a stop sign more often than I want to. I have also incorporated a healthy eating lifestyle, and I hired a personal trainer so I can achieve the physical goals I've set for myself this year. If you asked me right after my loss if I would look forward to dating again, making plans for the future, I would have said, it's just not in the cards for me. But I've realized that I hold the power to change the ending to my story. And I believe the possibilities are endless. I choose to play the game of life full out. I'm excited to find love, play tennis again this summer after not playing for 7 years, and I'm planning my next ski trip. I'm really excited about the future. And along my grief healing journey, as I said before, I became certified as a life coach specializing in grief and loss recovery. And I'm now blessed to help others heal. I discovered a proven process that enabled not only myself, but also my son to heal and recover from our devastating loss. I now get to dedicate my time and energy to help others overcome loss. And I do this by educating people on various methods of releasing pain and eliminating blockages, with the end goal always to bring them back to a place of light, love, and empowerment. I believe the feelings surrounding a loss are real, 100% real, but the struggle afterwards is entirely up to you. You hold the power to choose, because it's perfectly possible to make a full recovery and find yourself back in a happy, constructive, and prosperous place. And the reward for putting in the work is loving yourself, loving your life, and living it to the fullest extent. Your life will transform into one full of love and endless possibilities, but you first must commit to working on yourself, and I hope you do. I am on a mission to provide people like you with the tools and resources they need to recover, rebuild, and come out feeling undeniably renewed. You know, at any moment in life, things can change, and the probability of you going through another loss again is likely. So, to have the tools to be able to walk through grief in a healthy manner is key to you not putting your life on hold each time it happens. I want to thank you for allowing me to share my story with you today. I really hope that our time together has inspired you to heal from your loss and open up your heart really wide to love again. I will end with these words of encouragement. I invite you to be vulnerable, show up in life full of courage, and ready to conquer your now. You got this.